Hello, is that, are we back? Are we back online? That's a new one on me, that one. Bear with me 1 second. Are we live? Oh dear, it's hammering it down out there. We are live, hello. Right, hello everyone. Right, I've just set up my my laptop so I can see that we are live. Is anyone in the chat? It doesn't look like anyone is though. So I'm going to quickly nip over here and take off this print while nobody's looking. Speaking of prints, I'm going to be going through today. We're going to be looking at some French infantry, who are going to be Italian infantry actually. This is just me clearing off my my printer. There we go. Bear with me for 2 more seconds while I get the next print underway. Let's go with something that's not going to use much. Let's go with some Dark Eldar infantry. Right. That's that sorted. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's been a hectic week. I hope you guys are all good. Oh, right. Hello, who we got today then? So hello Ben, hello Glenn, hello Paul, hello David, first in the chat, and hello Paul Avery as well. So hello chaps, right. Whew. It's been a bit of a hectic week this week, and the traffic has certainly not helped. Right, so hello. What I thought we'd look at today is we are going to crack on with our epic epic cavalry. That's what we've got here. We've got some chasseurs à cheval. We've got some lancers, and then we've got some hussars as well. We're going to start actually painting the riders today. But I thought before we did that, we'd have a quick look in my bag of mysteries. This is one of the reasons why I'm a little bit late, so apologies. But these were down in the cellar, and I had to find them. So these are printed epic scale miniatures. Now, the let me just try something here. There we go. Right, now they're a bit shiny, so they're not taking the light particularly well. But these guys are from MC Miniatures. Now that is a STL company. You can find them on Wargaming 3D, and they do is called W Epic Scale, because obviously they can't use a copyrighted term. An epic scale is not copyrighted, but the name of the company is. So they call it W Epic Scale, and it is these guys here. So these are 12.5 mil. Now obviously you can make them bigger or smaller as you print them, or your printer can if you're lucky enough to be able to have someone else doing it for you. Bear with me 1 second. Right, so or you can get your printer to print it a different size for you. But these guys are the same height as Warlord Games. So there's some Britisher. You see here, they're a little bit chunkier, but they're roughly the same height. And 2 of these strips makes up one. I'm just throwing them everywhere now. Makes up one Warlord strip. So there we go, and they're about the same width, maybe a little bit wider, but nothing too tragic. Where are we? There we are. So this is them, MC Miniatures. If you are thinking of getting into Epic, Warlord Epic, but you are, a little concerned about the cost, or maybe you want an army that Warlord don't do yet, then it might be worth looking at MC Miniatures and picking up some of their files, or getting some printed from Etsy or something like that. Now, the reason my voice has gone quiet is because I've dropped some of those strips on the floor, so I'm just looking for them. I think they may have been lost to the carpet monster. Yes, they have. Oh, well, never mind. I'll just have to print some more. So now, one thing I will say is if I'm going to do a full review of these, which I'm not particularly, but one thing I should point out is they are self-supporting, so you don't need to add supports to them. However, they're not that self-supporting. You can see here, here's a chap who's had a bad run-in with a cannon. Here's a guy who's had an even worse run-in with a cannon because he's completely disappeared. I don't even want to know what's happened to these guys. So, yeah, so just be advised that there are some fails. Now, this may be to do with the FEP sheet. I'm loath to get rid of them completely because, for argument's sake, this guy here, if I trim him off, now, I'm not going to need that there. Well, I'm going to try and do it so I don't damage the guy next to him too much. Now, I think there's probably room there for maybe a mounted officer or something like that. So that's why even the miscasts, don't throw them away. You can always do something with them. Again, with this guy, I'm going to snip him off here so I can get my clippers in. And then something else has just pinged off there. I don't know what that was. Oh, again, that might be his plume. So there we go. Now it's not perfect. He's missing the whole side of his body, but that's fine because if you have a horse right up next to him, say this guy, although he's a British, let me lift this up a little bit. Get these out of the way. So if you have a British mounted officer, well, he obviously would be French, next to them, you're not really going to see that he's missing half of his arm, as long as you tuck him in like that. So that is an alternative as well. So even if you get some misprints, don't necessarily throw them away. Keep them, because you never know. This is the command. Now, I should say as well, these guys are in the pre-Bardin uniform. So these are mid-war, I think. Let me double check. So the first thing I do to check if they are pre-Bardin or not is you can see their tails on the coats here. So yeah, these guys are obviously before 1812, because in 1812 it will be cut off there and then to just be turned backs up the back there. And you can tell that they're post 1805 because they've got the shakos on. Now the elite companies come with the plumes. That's the command. Here's an elite company. Come with the plumes. So it's probably post 1808 because otherwise they'd have bear skins. So these are perfect for the invasion of Russia-ish, or they are good for other troops as well. Now my original intention for these was to turn them into Italians, but we'll see. I may end up just doing the French. So let's have a look at the chat. I've been galloping on for the last 5 minutes. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I'm doing the only bit of painting that I really enjoy, mud wash. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's by far the best bit. Glad I got hold of 3 starter boxes for Epic War 2. Now my painting starts. Not painted for a few years. Well, I'm going to circle back to you in a second, Andrew. Rubik, hello. Yeah, that's been time. Well, I hope college is going well for you. It should be back in the new year now, is it? A Perry Bavarian 6-pounder, very nice, and some dragoons. Are they Bavarian dragoons as well, or are they dragoons from someone else? Hello, Jamie. I am doing very well, thank you. I'm going to try and pop into the club tomorrow, but I won't be there for that long. I've got a Lord of the Rings tournament I'm going to at the weekend, so I need to get an early night for that. So my French army starter set is being delivered to Boars and Swords tomorrow. Wow, fantastic. And good choice of seller as well. So the Outpost would have been better because I've got an affiliate link with them. But Boards and Swords is an acceptable second. So that's good too. Speaking of Boards and Swords, I just had a message from Ian very shortly before going on air. And he has informed me that we have now sold 1/3 of the tickets for Under Eagles to Glory. So Under Eagles to Glory is the 28mm Napoleonic Weekender that we're having on the 1st and 2nd of March at Boards and Swords. I know I'd tell this, go through this spiel every single time, but yeah, I'm hoping that there's new people here. So it's Boards and Swords. It's 600 points, 28mm. Your armies don't have to be painted, but you are encouraged to have them painted. Let's put it that way. And then in September, now this is one for you, Andrew. I am just, this is an exclusive. I'm putting the pack together for To the Sound of the Guns, and that is going to be the epic scale Napoleonic Weekender, and that is the last weekend, or the last weekend of September 2025. So I'm just looking up exactly the dates now. Where are we? 2025 September. It is going to be the 25th. Nope, that's October. It's going to be the 27th and 28th of October. I knew it was wrong because I always have my my events as close to payday as possible. Just after payday, obviously. So yes, that's it. Set it in your diaries. Be there or be in an anti-cavalry formation. The 27th or 28th of September 2025 is going to be the epic scale event, and you can also use anything from 10 to 15 mil on that one. Unfortunately, I had a look at some AB miniatures. They are slightly too big. They're going to look a bit silly, so I'm not including AB miniatures, but anything that's 10 to 15 mil, Pendraken through to Essex, anything in that bracket, and you are good to go. So they're Bavarian Dragoons as well, painting the first one. Excellent. So, yes, Jamie, better get there, man. We need your Prussians to represent. A stream by you after a long lecture of Calculus 3. Ooh, right, blimey. Well, I can assure you, everyday Patriot, there is going to be very little calculus in my streams because I don't understand any of it. So that is why. So, you can, one thing that physics people can tell me is, why is it so dark here? It's the winter is coming, as Sharp would say, and yeah, it's been very wet today as well. It's not been great, which is luckily I managed to spray varnish my Lord of the Rings models this morning and brought them back in before the rain started, so that was nice. Right, now, one of the reasons why I was thinking of doing Italians is because they're just a little bit different from the French. Now, one of the absolute bonuses about this is the only real difference for the chasseurs and dragoons is the standard that they carried. They still had eagles, they still had all that good stuff. They still wore the dark green uniforms. So I can use the same models for Italians and French when it comes to cavalry. I just need to swap the command stand out. So that is a super bonus. I'm quite happy about that. What I may end up doing is buying a single sprue of these, and that's going to be for replacement. So you've got like this chap here. He can end up with, I can cut off his head, glue it on him, glue the eagle onto him, and he can be the standard bearer for the lancers and things like that. So I think I'll probably end up buying a separate a separate sprue. Now I'm just going to go in with some dark green on the chasseurs. Now the chasseurs are a nice easy one to start with because basically they are all dark green. So we'll go in here. Now this is using Dark Angels green. This is one of Games Workshop's contrast paints. If you prefer speed paints, then that's absolutely fine. You can use those as well. Now he's wearing white gauntlets, so I'm going to try and avoid them if I can. There we are. You'll notice as well I've done his bedroll because that would be green as well. The end of it would have the facings colour, which, as we know, is going to be pink, because if there is an opportunity for me to give a unit pink facings, I always do. So these guys are going to have pink facings. Now, I always flip. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this, particularly when doing small scale figures. I always try and be as neat as possible, but I never know whether that's the right way, the right thing to do, or whether I can afford to be a little bit messy and then tidy it up with the following layers. So what do you guys do? Do you guys try and stay as neat as possible, or do you know that when you put the next layer on, you're going to cover up any damage, so you can be a little bit more slapdash and save yourselves that time? What's your thoughts on that? So I'm also trying to avoid his epaulets there as well. His sash. He's got some jacket underneath his sash there. There we are. Now I'm desperately trying to remember whether these guys had cuffs or not. I suspect not. I suspect that's part of the gauntlet. So I shall leave it for now. A little bit around his throat. Obviously, the rest of the collar, that's going to be the color of the facing. So that's going to be pink. So paint the whole thing brown, then base coats, and then whatever gets on the top. Well, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Can we ban Austrians? I think we should ban Austrians. Yes, I think we should. You're right, Clive. There isn't enough. There isn't enough light. But you know, I am nothing if not stubborn. And I said I would do these streams until the end of British summertime. So I think for, I mean, I've got the overhead light on. I've got the light on my camera on. I may be able to rig up one more light for next week. But if all else fails, I may switch to my alternative plan a little sooner than I intended. So just a reminder as well, guys, there'll be no video this weekend. I am off to the Middle Earth Team Championship. Now, very rarely for Games Workshop, this one's actually going to be won by the people who win the most games. Now, I think, with General Dan by my side, I'm going with a couple of other friends. I think we've got a chance of doing well. We've got a chance of being on the podium. Will we win the whole event? Probably not. In fact, almost certainly not. But I think we've got a decent chance of podiuming. Dan is taking his Defenders of Helm's Deep, which is not traditionally one of the strongest Legendary Legions, but, you know, he's very experienced with it, and I think it's got some tricks up its sleeve. I'm the hobby hero. I'm not taking a Legendary Legion at all. I am taking a combination of Gondor and the Fiefdoms, or Fiefdoms, as some people would say. And my friend James, he is bringing the Assault on Helm's Deep Legendary Legion. So he's going for Uruk-hai with 2 big blisters, which can reroll fails to hit. They are very, very scary. In fact, that won the event a few years ago, I think. The singles event. And our other friend, John, James's brother, he is bringing the Depths of Moria. So he is bringing Barry the Balrog, and we'll see how that one goes. The Beacons of Gondor were lit. I'm bringing Imrahil and Forlong the Fat from the Fiefdoms. Forlong the Fat is an absolute beast. Imrahil's very good as well. And they will be joined by Madril, the Ranger, and who else? Huron the Tall, which, in my defense, is fluffy. It's also disgusting in the game as well. But Huron the Tall is the guy who rides out with Imrahil to rescue Faramir in the books. So that's my that is my excuse for that combination. It also means that in order to get the victory points for killing my general, you have to kill Imrahil, and he is no slouch, and Huron the Tall as well. So I'm hoping that my general points should be pretty safe. Let's go around here. So we're moved on to the Lancer here. You can see I've done the 2 chasseurs. I'm gonna do the top down for them in a bit. I'm just gonna have to take them off camera to do that though. So I'm gonna try and get as much done on camera as I can, and then I might have to take them off camera while I do the like from the top down, basically. Now the Dragoons, being heavy cavalry, they have big old gauntlets on, so that's fine for here. They're modelled on really nicely, actually. Yeah, so I'm thinking I'm going to probably pick up the guard from where are we? There we are. I'll probably pick up the guard from warlord, the French old guard, obviously. Because I was looking at the box today, so that's 30 quid less if you buy it from the outpost. But for 30 quid, you get 3 battalions of guard, a company of marines, a company of engineers of the guard. You get some guard foot artillery, which of course are the 12-pounders, Napoleon's beautiful daughters. And you get 3 Imperial Guard colonels as well. So you can make one into Cambron, one into what's his name? The artillery guy. Dorsen, was it? No, that doesn't sound right. Into the into sort of supreme commanders, or of course you can just use them as infantry commanders as well. Doesn't British summertime end this weekend? Is it this weekend? Is it? I thought it was next month. Oh right, well that's even better then. There you go. So so suck it, son. Ha. Yes, no. When British summertime ends, it's going to be even darker, I believe. So I think that's how that works, isn't it? So yeah, it will be, because 6 o'clock will actually be 7 o'clock. So yeah, what I'm planning on doing then is well, I'll show you at the end. I shall show you something to stick around to the end, so you can see that. Now, speaking of sticking around places, I have seen another video. So the Ministry of Miniatures, he did a sterling job in getting his video out as soon as possible. You know what? With these overalls, so they're trousers, I am just going to paint over the stripe. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Yeah, so the Ministry of Miniatures, he had that weird edit where they were finishing talking about a book, but you didn't know what the actual book was. Well, unfortunately, chaps and chapesses, I regret to report that it is not the Napoleonic book they were talking about. They were talking about one for, I don't know what it'll be for. It'll either be for Hail Caesar, or I suspect Pikey and Shotty, because they were talking about the Italian Wars, which is the very end of the medieval period. Now, it's not bad for me, because I've just printed 30 French gendarmes, so that's going to work out quite nicely. But yeah, unfortunately, they weren't talking about how the Dresden book is about to come out, so that was a bit of a shame. BSCN 27th of October. I thought it was the end of October, because it's usually near my birthday. Hint, hint. Anyone who's wanting to throw out a birthday present there. Actually, I'm not here that weekend. I'm my friend's best man, so that's going to be joyous. Do I have enough enthusiasm there? L'Allemande, that's what I'm thinking of. It may come to me, but it probably won't. Cambron, and now I'm thinking of doing a Napoleonic figures video on him, so I better find out what his name is at some point, don't I? Otherwise, it will be a very poor video. Christ, I get few enough views on those videos as it is, without forgetting what the guy's name is. Yep, no, that's all right, Paul. Thank you. That sucks for you, though. So that's my brother, Paul. He's a chef at a golf club. So when the nights draw in, it means he gets earlier finishes, I'd imagine, as the golfers come in sooner. Hello, Nate. Hello from Montana. So I've not seen in a long time. We used to have Steve Tyler. Used to watch, and I still wasn't convinced it wasn't the Steve Tyler. But yeah, I've not seen him in a while. So if anyone knows Steven Tyler, then say hello. I mean, you're in Montana. He's in Nevada. They're basically next door to each other, aren't they? So yeah, I'm sure you know him. I am, of course, joking. No, I would love to go to Montana though. It's just to see it more than anything else. I mean, here in Old Blighty, you know, you can. There's not many places that you can see for miles in. We went to Scotland recently, and we came over the hills from the border, and you could see the whole like Vale of York out in front of you. So yeah, we were past the border at that point, but oh, it was absolutely stunning. Really was incredible. But I can imagine something like Montana is absolutely beautiful. I'm sure once you've seen one sunrise in Montana, you've seen them all. But no, it's somewhere I'd love to go. After Bot Action 3, they're planning on doing one historical a month or supplement a month or so. Well, I hope so. I hope they do. I hope they do catch up. Speaking of videos, did you catch the series on the Marshals and Napoleon? I told you I haven't caught up with it yet. It is on my to watch list. So what I have is I have a folder in my favourites bar that is labelled media, and then it's got like subdivisions for like films and stuff like that that I want to see. In fact, I had so I've just bought the Chi Ha platoon for my Bolt Action Army. I put together one of them on stream, and I wanted to do one of them as the Girls und Panzer one. And I mean, I'm not a big anime watcher, so I don't really know much about it. So I thought, oh, I'll give it a go. And I got about, I mean, maybe 10 minutes in, and I was like, I can't watch this. It just, oh, it gave me a headache. But so that one came out of the favourites folder, and the Napoleon's Marshals went in. So, hello, Edward. Well, yes, it's like you're living in the past. It's good. I like it. I mean, that's what we're here to do. The Napoleon figures, you like the one on Raevsky. It's probably your favourite series after the start collecting. Well, thank you. It's certainly the series I enjoy doing the most. Now, that's not to say that I begrudge doing any of the others, of course. I really enjoy doing them as well. But getting the real deep dives, and I think certainly from the what's his name, the Prussian guy, Scharnhorst. From the Scharnhorst one onwards, I really changed how I did them and really went quite deep into them. The Andreas Hoffner one, I'd like to go back, revisit that one, and I really need to revisit the LaSalle one. That was one of the first videos I ever did, and I think I can do a much better version of it now. But there are other figures to be done. I quite like the Augustina of Aragon one, actually. That was quite a good one. But no, the next one, or one that I'm very keen to do, it won't be the next one because I don't want to do two Russians back to back. But the woman who joined the Russian cavalry, she is definitely going to be one of them. I need to finish reading her autobiography though before I chop into that. I've just remembered this like plastron thing. It doesn't go right up to the neck, does it? There's a cut in, so let's make sure that's painted in. Has this guy got epaulets? He does not. I've left him some, but he does not have any. So there we are. And here we are. Now I am hoping that now I've got this Napoleonic. Now I've got this Lord of the Rings list painted and out of the way. I'm really hoping that I can chop into these epic. I will be doing more of them off stream as well. You don't want to see me just doing the same thing week in, week out, I'm sure. So I'm hoping to chop into these. I'm also hoping to finish my Württembergers maybe by January, and then we can get those onto the channel, and we can get them ready for Under Eagles to Glory. One of the things I've not really had much chance to do recently is play many games. General Dan's doing a university course, and I've been really busy with work. So hopefully there's an all-dayer at the club coming up. I'm not sure when it is, but hopefully. Actually, James, if you're in the chat, do you know when the all-dayer is? we'll be able to get something sorted then. So back to a chasseur. The Cavalry Maiden. Yes, that's absolutely the one. I can't remember what her name is. But yes, the Cavalry Maiden. If you did not shed a tear when her horse died, then you are, spoiler alert, then you are a brigand, sir. Yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a spoiler on that one. Alid, good man. That is what I like to see. Admiral Huguenon, you are new, Admiral Huguenon. So hello, welcome. It is the Napoleonic Figures series, which is the one I do where it's like a deep dive on an individual, one of the lesser known figures of the Napoleonic Wars. I don't really see much point in doing them on a Marshal or Napoleon or something like that. But I may end up doing a separate series on the Marshals myself. We will see. Do you want to know which Marshal? No. I do not know that. I am that guy who, when the news is on, and they say, match of the day follows the news. If you don't want to know the results, then leave the room. I am the guy who leaves the room. So no. Don't tell me who number 1 is. I can probably guess. And certainly when they tell me who number 2 is, I'll know who number 1 is, if that makes sense. Well, obviously I will, because he's the only one. But it's probably going to be one of 2. So I can probably guess. Although, will it? Who knows? I could be wrong. This could be like the Aston Villa 8-0 beating of Liverpool of the historical period. Mike, yes it is. A busy starting to create your French order of battle. That is what we like to see. I'll be bringing French this year as well, because then we can guarantee at least there's one French army. Although, I don't know, we'll see. It may end up being the Württembergers, but we'll see. Do I reckon the Perrys will ever do plastic Spanish? Wargaming Atlantic are really dragging their heels with theirs. When it comes to the Perrys, I would never say never. Let's put it that way. Yes, I will say never say never. I think plastic Spanish will be an interesting one. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I don't see why they wouldn't. Wargaming Atlantic seems to be very odd to me at the moment. They're bringing out all sorts of rando stuff. I do very much like their a lot of their digital files, though. I've just Dom from Boots on the Table is in Troy. He was in Ephesus yesterday, so he's going down the Aegean coast, but he was in Troy. And I have actually written rules for the Trojan Wars. So some of you may know or may not know, if you saw my interview or my guest episode on the Plastic Crack podcast, that nearly as much as I love Napoleonics, I love Bronze Age. So the Trojan Wars are absolutely my jam. So yes, I love their Trojan War stuff. I've bought it all. There was a sale on last month. I spent an insane amount of money. So I bought all their not just on them, but other stuff as well. Yes, but they do STLs for guerrillas and like clergy and stuff like that. So they've got the support in place, but not the plastics yet. So I don't quite know what's going on with that. Maybe they'll come out when Warlord bring out the Leipzig book. Who knows? I believe it's the weekend before Fiasco. I'm not sure what the weekend before Fiasco is, but okay. Oh, right, you had a different time. Okay, fair enough. Well, either way, it's nice to see you again. It was a rough one, particularly after you almost lost it at Austerlitz. Yeah. Yes, no, it was a shame. And it was such a incongruous thing as well. It wasn't really like, as if it was hit by a cannon or anything like that. It was just, it was sad. Hello, Grim. Hello. The Sunday after CrackCon. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. This is the all day, or is it the Sunday after CrackCon? So that would be the 19th of October. Is that right? Or 20th, something like that. I think CrackCon's in the middle of the month. Or is it the last week? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out tomorrow. I hope it's not the last. I hope it's not Halloween weekend. Like, that will be the first weekend of November. Because that's the weekend I'm away. Halloween's on a Thursday this year. There's lots of dates and stuff today, isn't there? This is they're not like historical dates. Just cut that into his plastron there a little bit more. So the plastron's like the bib that they've got going on. So, well, what time are we on? We're on 20 to 7 because I don't just want to do this green. That's a bit boring. I'll do these guys here. Then we'll do some Hujars, I think. I also want to do the artillery crew as well. So, yes. We'll just do... I'll tell you what, actually. We'll just do the officer. With these nice dark green saddle cloth here. Look at that. Lovely. Absolutely delicious. Give him some chasseur overalls ready for Sharp to kill him and take them off him. Now, I have to say, and this is, as you know, regular viewers will know, I am a huge proponent of 3D printing. I 3D print myself, big fan, love it. However, unless you are a good printer, and I am not, the level of detail that's on these figures, you can't see it here because the light's not so great. But the level of detail on these guys is absolutely fantastic. Someone like my brother Paul or Clive, you could probably get the same level of detail. But for me, no, absolutely no chance. Now, this guy is the officer of chasseurs. He can also be a standard bearer because you cut his hand off here and then glue the eagle onto him. Now, the reason I would say do this guy rather than this guy for the eagle is, well, that guy's a dragoon. It's a lancer for a start. But the other thing is, if you do it at an angle, then you can glue the part of the staff to the horse, and that'll strengthen it. Rather than just glue it at the wrist, if you can glue it to the horse as well, then that flag ain't never coming off. So that is something to bear in mind. I was also thinking as well. Let me know your opinion on this one, guys. I was looking at the sheet of flags that you get with the in the boxes, but I'm thinking I might use 15mm scaled flags because there's going to be plenty of them out there. So any unit that ever sniffed the Napoleonic Wars, there'll be a 15mm flag for it somewhere. And because it's oversized, it will help the miniatures stand out a bit more on the tabletop. Now, I'm someone who will put a flag in every single unit, even ones that historically didn't have them. But what do you think about what would your thoughts on oversized flags be? For me, it was just a bit of a sort of an idle thought I was having to think. Well, it gives you the maximum choice of regiments, and it's going to make the miniatures leap off the table. Make a top 5 prediction on the best marshals. I'm going to go with. I'll open this up to the chat. I think 3 of the top 5 will be Berthier, Ney, and Davo. So that's who I think certainly 3 of the top 5 will be. I can't find out why they release things like Panzer in plastic. Yeah, no, that was a really weird one, wasn't it? So, and also the French Resistance with no women in. Now, I get that you can buy the files, but I mean, 1 female body per sprue. would have seemed to make most sense to me. I don't know. But with them releasing rando stuff like the Panzerleiter, it makes me hope that one day they're going to bring out Sans Culottes or, I don't know, Revolting Parisians A or something like that. So, you never know with these crazy companies. Right, so that's the officer done as well. I feel like he's not, though. I feel like I've missed something. I don't think I have. No. How bizarre. I just took that in there. Missed a bit on the horse there. I just took that in just to cover that gap. There we go. Okie dokie. Where are we? Colin, I mentioned Georg von Doblin in my recent video. He was interesting. Yeah, well, he's a Swedish guy, was he? Yeah, he was absolutely nuts. What happened to him after the war? Yeah, he was absolutely crazy. What was Atlantic Spanish? Probably second half of 2025. Okay, fair enough. This might be unironic coming from me, but when I want to do more 1812 stuff. It's just getting the time to do the research and stuff like that. But I very much would like to. My my British Army is Peninsular War based, but I do have quite a few Waterloo era British as well, with the Belgic Shakos on in 28mm. So I want to do those guys as Americans. So there is definitely more I want to do, but it's just getting around to doing it. Now these guys here, I've just noticed them as I've been using the green, and I said I'm not going to use the green anymore. But as we're here, I brought up Winter is Coming earlier on, so we had a bit of Sean Bean going on. Let's have a bit more Sean Bean. Now with these guys, the undercoat has just run off them. This red plastic is terrible for taking colour. It really does show through. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to put a fair amount on my brush, and I'm going to go to town on these riflemen. Now these will almost certainly be 95th. I did think about doing them as the Royal American Rifles, just to be a bit different, but I will probably just do them as 95th if I'm honest. So there we go. This brush is a bit soft actually. Thought it was harder than this. Giggity. Not really getting into the nooks and crannies I need it to. So with this, I am, as you can see, not being subtle at all, and that's because the accoutrements, the straps and the buckles and the facings and all that stuff, because they're going to be black, then they definitely will be able to cover the green with no problem at all. So that's why I'm not being particularly nice with this. I'm going to try a different brush. That's a bit soft. I do 3D print myself, David. I do indeed. I'm assuming that's irony. You can hear in the background I've got a print on actually. Let me see. Is there a hard brush in here? Are you hard or are you soft? I think you're too soft as well, but let's have a go. Oh no, much better. Much better. So yeah, with this one, I'm just getting the paint on, getting it on all the shoulders, all that kind of good stuff. This guy here has got a tam o'shanter on, so that's going to be green as well. Paint over his face because I'm going to have to repaint over that anyway. It looks like the paint was sprayed from a little bit too far away on these as well. Or maybe it was a bit cold, the can. Because it looks a little bit chalky as well. So, as well as as well as not being great with the red plastic, it's probably my spraying as well hasn't helped. So bung these guys. I'm getting it on reasonably thick. The thing is with these contrast paints is you're better off putting on slightly too much than too little. You can always suck some of it back up with the brush if you need to, but it gives you a much stronger contrast if you put a bit more on. I saw someone said they'd gone fundamentalist earlier on and no longer did contrast paints. I shall scroll back up and finish that comment in a minute. What would happen if yeah, that would be cool with the Brunswick kids. I saw a basketball that had been painted with that paint, and it was the weirdest thing I think I've ever seen. Oh yeah, it was. If you can, try and Google like world's blackest paint basketball or something like that. I wouldn't, maybe not on the work computer, but yeah, it's a super weird photograph. It looks like he's holding just like a black void. It's super weird. Blah, 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 blah. Well, I said epic scale from Warlords is a good entry point to the point. I like the idea of the scale of battles. Yeah, no, I think it's an excellent entry, to be honest. One of the things that like other manufacturers do is obviously they might be a little bit cheaper. Some of them will give you a unit in a box. Some of them won't, so you'll have to know what it is you're buying. I think with the Epic thing, it's well supported. The models are really nice. Yeah, I think it's the thing is with Warlord is they are very Games Workshop light, and that's for all the good things that Games Workshop does and all the bad ones. Now I would say that one of the best things Games Workshop does is introduce people to wargaming. And I think Warlord are very good at introducing people to historical wargaming. And I think that Epic is very good at doing that. Now, because the thing is with it, because of the scale of the models, you can get away with just using them as counters almost. So you don't really have to paint them. Now, obviously, they look much better painted, and I think you're missing out a lot if you don't. But if the choice is, you know, I either play with them unpainted, or it's going to be 15 years until I get around to painting them, so I'm never going to play the game, then just stick them on the bases and get playing. You can even just blue tack them on, if you're that bothered. No, I absolutely think it's a really, really good way of getting into the Napoleonics. I think Hail Caesar Epic with the Punic Wars is potentially a better way of getting into wargaming in general, because it's a little bit slower. Hail Caesar, people don't move as far and things like that. It's a bit more intuitive, perhaps. But if it's Black Powder you're interested in, if that's the period that you like, and that's the kind of wargame that you want to do, then yes, I think it's an excellent starter to. As is the 28mm starter box as well. It's not perfect. It's got its problems, many of which I have pointed out. But yeah, as a start to the Napoleonic hobby, it's yeah, I think it's excellent, and that's why that's the prize for the advent calendar every year, because I think it's a good start to the hobby. Right, that's the back of them done. Let's just get in, tickle all the legs up. There we are. I'm doing the cartridge pouches as well, but I don't really care. Right, cool. Where are we? There's a website like Warflag. Yeah, Warflag is cool. It's just missing the detail I like on my flags. I like my flags to be the focal point of the unit. So I am a little bit of a I'm happy to compromise on the minis, but not so much the flags. Everyone gets flags a bit. Yeah, you see, there you go. The only one you found missing was Poland. Oh, what flags wise? Is that the Duchy of Warsaw or the Vistula Legion? Because with the Vistula Legion, you could probably just use some Republican French ones. WA seems on our rando sci-fi stuff. Well, I mean, it does. I guess that's probably what sells, though, to be honest. You make your own flags. Madness. Madness. Did all the Napoleonic armies have fifers? Yeah. So that tended to be a light infantry thing. If armies had light infantry regiments, then they probably would. I was cured by the dark side of tercios recently. Oh, okay. Well, that's fair enough, because they're pretty cool as well. What resin do I use? I use... what do I use? I use the Anycubic resin, I think. It's about £15 for a litre from Amazon. Or Bezos has got me covered on that one. It's not amazing, but it gets the job done. See, that might be the other thing as well. See, it might be the resin, but see, this is getting into far more detail than I'm really willing to go, to be honest. So it's my own sort of laziness, really. But I'm just checking something. I'm fairly sure that it's red. Is it yeah, it is the first Hussars I'm thinking of. Is it the first Hussars I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of the red and the blue ones. Let's have a look. It's red. Right, red jacket and trousers. And then blue police, is that right? For the 6th? So we're going for the 6th then, boys. Oh, this is a nice one on Pinterest. Oh, that's a very nice one. Right, sorry. Got a bit lost there. French 6th, isn't it? Ooh, they're very strong. They're very spangly. I like them. So yeah, so 6th Hussars. We're going to go with the cherry bums. We're going to go with red trousers and red dolmans. Now the dolman is the jacket that they wore, so that's the top, and then the pelisse, which is the coats they wore over the top. That's going to be blue. So there's a nice contrast there. I may end up having to buy a Space Wolf colour, which makes me slightly sick in my mouth. But that'll be the first Hussars when we get around to doing that. And Monsieur Marais, apparently he was in the 6th Dragoons, so he's the famous photograph of the guy. Sorry, not Dragoons, the Hussars. The famous photograph of the guy in the Hussars. So if it's good enough for him, it is good enough for me. One of the things I really like about the Austrian Hussars, and it's a silly thing really, but I love the fact that they've got coloured shakos. I just think that's awesome. The first time I painted Austrian Hussars, I gave them the dark angel green coloured shakos. They look the absolute nuts. They look really cool. Rothgar 68. I recommend an airbrush. How very dare you, sir. Now, I would like an airbrush, actually. My brother's a big proponent of airbrushes. But I haven't got one for 2 reasons. One, I don't really have... Well, 3 reasons, actually. I don't really have the patience to set it up and, like, strip it down and clean it all the time. Like, I had enough of that with my rifle, so forget that noise. I'm not doing it with an airbrush as well. And the second part is I don't really have the space to set up a spraying area. And the third part is my brother's got an airbrush, so I can just say, Paul, can you just airbrush these for me? That I find is the easiest way to airbrush something. So he did my Char B when we went to a Normandy event recently. So the Germans used Char Bs as a Flammenpanzer, which I had to take with me. You have to take it in that camp German voice as well. It's even better if you call it Dash Flammenpanzer, which on paper is amazing. In the games I played with it, not so much. Yes, so it was he airbrushed that for me, and it looks absolutely awesome. It did look very, very good, actually. So no, I can concede that airbrushes are very good. They're just not particularly practical for me at the moment. Anti-contrast paint gang. Oh, boo, boo, boo. No, I mean, that's fair enough. If that's what you like. I understand people who aren't going to paint them want it color coded. Imagine a whole brigade of epic scale too. Oh God. Well, if imagine the old War Master Great Unclean one. There you go. I'll give you an an image. Anything you paint probably with black looks like a holy mountain. Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. Honestly, I cannot. I mean, I can't even describe how insane it is. You got to see it yourself. So yeah, black 4.0 basketball, something like that. Again, maybe not on the work computer, but yeah, it's crazy. If you've not seen it, it just looks bizarre. The trouble I have with epic scale is that if you don't want to do generic troops from 1815, it gets troubling. It does, but 3D prints to the rescue. I've got some 1808 infantry there, ready for some Danube action. Things like the miners, the cool Prussian units that aren't available. No, that's true, actually. Joking aside, yes, no, that is an issue. I'm not sure if MC Miniatures has a listed, has, official sellers, but I don't know. You could maybe drop them a message or drop someone who's got a printer a message. And maybe get some that way. But yeah, check out Wargaming 3D. Is it Wargaming 3D? I think it's called. Type into the search bar W Epic Scale and see what comes up, because there's some really nice stuff on there. But his Bavarians are particularly nice, I think. Should go under there. And his Austrians are great as well. He does Austrians in uniform and greatcoats, so the Austrians are pretty funky. I think he does any land veer for them, though. So that is the dolmens and overalls done on those two Hujars. I've not actually brought... I thought I brought a medium blue up with me, but I didn't. I brought the black up with me instead. So, and the dark blue. So that's too dark. But what I am going to do with that is we're going to finish off with this artillery crew here. Now, these are horse artillery, but no, these are foot artillery. They're horse artillery that have Busbys on. So these, and they'd also have dolmens on as well. So these are foot artillery. Charles says you 100% would not have gotten into historics if not for Warlord. Too many rules, too many scales. Absolutely, yeah. I think so. That's really well said, because that's the thing I was trying to get to on my video about will Black Powder ever become a pickup game. That's it. The problem is there's so many scales. What's the best Napoleonic set of rules? Oh, here it comes. You've got 10 people and 12 different answers. So, no, I completely agree with you. And having that baseline, I think, is really useful. People have said to me before, you should get into Soldiers of Napoleon, or Valor and Fortitude, or Shaco, or LaSalle Volume 2 when that came out, and all this stuff. And to be honest, people are not wrong saying that. They're all great games, I'm sure. But by keeping it Black Powder, there's an established company there that support it, and it means that we, everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet, as it were. We can get to that stage where, it may not be the best set of rules. 40k is not the best set of rules, but it's a set of rules that if you walk down to the club or a Games Workshop with a 40k army, you're probably going to get a game. If not that week, then the week later. And I think that's where why I've sort of full square behind Black Powder. Really, is I think they're best placed to do that for historicals, be that Hail Caesar or Black Powder or Pikey and Shotty or whatever. So with these guys, I'm not going to go too. I'm not too worried about the super details on them. They've not got a huge amount. The main thing is going to be the plastron, the bib on the front of their uniform, and their epaulets, which are going to be red. I think they've also got red facings as well, if I remember correctly. I'm going to try and not paint over any straps or epaulets if I can avoid it, but I'm not going to avoid painting over them if it's going to be a pain in the arse. So there we are. That's him done. Base coating models on sprues. What is this heresy? Well, I mean, I like it because it means I can keep everything together, and I can hold the sprue, and we're all good to go. The only bits that are connected are underneath the models, so when I snip those off, then it's not going to matter because I'll be gluing them on bases anyway. I posted like Epic for ACW more than Napoleonic. Yep, no, that's absolutely fine. I'd love to paint mine, still not got to it. A whole division's worth of Bavarians. Well, you know, well, I mean, we're always waiting for you, don't worry. Like a pretzel that you've fallen underneath the settee. The Bavarians are waiting for it to be rediscovered. I don't know where I was going with that. Pinterest is a rabbit hole. Oh, yeah, absolutely is. Yeah, that's why I had to quickly come out of there. The video would literally have just been me going, ooh, ooh, for the next 20 minutes. So that was the end of that. I use a website for 1813 a lot too. Is that 100 days uniforms? Yes. Well, that's a good point, chaps. Next weekend's video is a bit of a preview. Is going to be my top 5 websites. My top 5 website Napoleonic resource websites. So I hasten to add it's going to be Napoleonic resources. So Mongolian and dwarfcamel.com is not going to be on the list. So but my word, could that dwarf take a lot of punishment? I'm just going to say. I did see some files for zombie camels the other day, and a vampire Napoleon. Now, do I need a vampire Napoleon? Yes. The answer is yes. I do need vampire Napoleon, so I will be buying him and printing him in the not too distant future. And the reason I need a vampire Napoleon is because he exists. So that is why. There's also a zombie Napoleon, which I don't think is as good as the vampire one. I was hoping to do some silver bayonet stuff for Halloween, but unfortunately my friend decided to get married instead, so I'm not going to have much time around October to sort it out. But we'll see. We'll see if I can get some. If I can get a game sorted, then all the better. So I'm just going down to the tails here on their coats. I'm trying to avoid the turnbacks just because it's not too difficult to avoid them. So if you go over them, though, it's not necessarily the end of the world. Now, for you contrast haters out there, I will probably not be using contrasts on the turnbacks and the facings and things like that, just because the contrasts are opaque and I don't want the blue to show through. I want it to be a nice, strong colour. One of the things with the smaller scale is the smaller the scale, the stronger the colours need to be. Subtlety does not work on 10 or 6 or 12 mil. So, forget subtlety, just get the models and, go maybe one shade brighter than you would on 28 mil models. Just to make them pop off the tabletop that little bit more. Right, now we are approaching the end of the stream, I'm afraid, chaps. I am just going to quickly go through the anti-contrast paint gang rise up. Look, man, I'm not pretending that it's real painting. I'm just slapping that paint on, getting them down. Probably one of the most underrated channels on YouTube. I know you from your Brunswick videos. Oh, thank you very much, Clan. That's very nice of you to say so. Just think, I mean, with that praise, just imagine how much praise I would have earned if I actually finished that series. But I am working on it at the moment. The next video is hopefully going to be before Christmas. That's the best I can say. The last thing I want to do with any of the videos is rush them and then not be happy with them. That's the key thing. So like my French Guard video, I'm not very happy with. I'm going to redo that again at some point in the future. But yeah, no, I'd rather spend longer on it and be happy with the finished product than rush it. That's why General Rejewski took me so long. Yeah, I wanted to get the quotes in there. I wanted to read his memoirs and things like that. So that's one of the reasons why the Brunswickers have taken so long. Is as we get further towards the 100 days, the amount of information on them just absolutely explodes. So suddenly there's a lot more to comb through. Right, so there we are. I don't know why I'm making such a big fuss about avoiding his baldric there. There we go. You know what, actually? I am going to quickly... I thought this was too dark, but I actually quite like it on there. Let me just do one. And see how it goes. You know what, boys? I'm actually liking this. This is looking mighty fine. Oh yeah, no, that's absolutely 100% me converted. So that's the Hussar, the red and blue, looking pretty sweet there. I think happy with that. Right, that is it, chaps. I'm going to have one final trawl through the comments. No plans for any more epic naps than a few small bits in resin. Fair enough. I mean, that's fair enough. There are other manufacturers out there. We don't necessarily need to rely on Warlord, but I will throw them some bones for the stuff I do like in theirs. You love your Bavarians. Well, you know, when I say they support it, it was a bitter laugh. I feel like the Perrys, yeah, they do actually, and I'm very excited by Wargames Illustrated. We've just brought out the Franco-Prussian War supplement for it, so I'm super excited about that. We do need to play soldiers. That is correct. I bought maybe 2 years ago, only one game with them. Well, next September, Dead End, you're gonna what, quadruple the number of games that you've played with it. So, zombie calendars for Silverbait, yeah, absolutely. Oh, hello, Lucas. Hello. A game at the wedding, yeah, okay, yeah. Was actually gaming night since I found a club. Oh, fantastic. Well, I mean, I'd rather you were at the club gaming, or, well, I'd rather you were at home designing, but you can't have everything, can we? Do I find it odd in Black Powder 1? Yes, I do, Panzerfaust, which is why in my pack, you get to choose which one does it. So, don't forget, oh, thank you, go for it. Yeah, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Yeah, I've not had any thumbs up on this one, have I? Oh, I do, I've got 28, but thank you. Muddy and faded fits better. No, that's fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, no, well, it's definitely worth looking at, Andrew. It's something which, again, if you've got the time and the space for it, I would definitely recommend. I mean, I'm just, I've just taken off at the start of the stream some Tau vehicles for Epic, so I should be giving those to my friend at the weekend. He promised at BritCon that if I sorted him out an Epic Tau army, he'd play Epic with me. So I've got my Imperial Guard I took to Adepticon. Now, when I say I took my Imperial Guard to Adepticon, so day one at Adepticon, I won the War Master tournament. So I went into day 2 with the Epic tournament. Reasonably confident. I got absolutely annihilated in every single game. I mean, it wasn't even close. Well, actually, no. The second game was quite close. But the first and third game, I got absolutely curb stomped. So yes, but I very much enjoyed it, and that's the important thing. Right, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, David, and I will see you tomorrow as well, James. For the rest of you guys, I'm afraid this is going to have to be it. I'm going to have to rock and roll. I'm going to get in trouble for being late. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you. Hang on. I'll just quickly before we go. I have. Oh, that's a 9th ticket gone. So we're now over a third of the tickets for Under Eagles to Glory have now gone. So make sure if you're planning on going that you get your tickets sooner rather than later, because they are selling out fast. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will. That's on the Boards and Swords website, by the way. I should have said. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you guys next time.